Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
To go back over again. We retraced the route we took last summer. A suggestion of some quality. A just detectable amount. He speaks French with a trace of an accent. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Trace the outline of a figure in the sand. Pursue or chase relentlessly. The hunters trace the deer into the woods. An indication that something has been present. There wasn't a trace of evidence for the claim. Follow, discover, or ascertain the course of development of something. Trace the student's progress. Read with difficulty. The archaeologist traced the hieroglyphs. A drawing created by superimposing a semi-transparent sheet of paper on the original image and copying on it the lines of the original image. A visible mark, as a footprint, left by the passage of person or animal or vehicle. Copy by following the lines of the original drawing on a transparent sheet placed upon it. Make a tracing of. Trace a design. Discover traces of. She traced the circumstances of her birth. Either of two lines that connect a horse's harness to a wagon or other vehicle or to a whiffletree. Make one's course or travel along a path. Travel or pass over, around, or along. The children traced along the edge of the dark forest. To go back over again. We retraced the route we took last summer. Reassemble mentally. Haunt like a ghost. Pursue. Write for someone else. How many books have you ghostwritten so far? A suggestion of some quality. He detected a ghost of a smile on her face. A mental representation of some haunting experience. He looked like he had seen a ghost. A writer who gives the credit of authorship to someone else. Move like a ghost. The masked men ghosted across the moonlit yard. The visible disembodied soul of a dead person. A distinguishing style. This room needs a woman's touch. Make a more or less disguised reference to. Consume. She didn't touch her food all night. The event of something coming in contact with the body. He longed for the touch of her hand. Be relevant to. A suggestion of some quality. There was a touch of sarcasm in his tone. Have an effect upon. The act of putting two things together with no space between them. At his touch the room filled with lights. Be equal to in quality or ability. Your performance doesn't even touch that of your colleagues. A communicative interaction. He got in touch with his colleagues. A slight attack of illness. He has a touch of rheumatism. Affect emotionally. I was touched by your kind letter of sympathy. The faculty by which external objects or forces are perceived through contact with the body, especially the hands. Only sight and touch enable us to locate objects in the space around us. Tamper with. Don't touch my CDs. To extend as far as. The chair must not touch the wall. A slight but appreciable amount. This dish could use a touch of garlic. be in direct physical contact with, make contact. The two buildings touch. The sensation produced by pressure receptors in the skin. She likes the touch of silk on her skin. Color lightly. Cause to be in brief contact with. He touched his toes to the horse's flanks. Comprehend. He could not touch the meaning of the poem. Deal with. Usually used with a form of negation. I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. Deftness in handling matters. He has a master's touch. Make physical contact with, come in contact with. She never touched her husband. Perceive via the tactile sense. Helen Keller felt the physical world by touching people and objects around her. The act of soliciting money, as a gift or loan. He watched the beggar trying to make a touch. The feel of mechanical action. This piano has a wonderful touch. A proposal offered for acceptance or rejection. It was a suggestion we couldn't refuse. Persuasion formulated as a suggestion. The act of inducing hypnosis. A just detectable amount. An idea that is suggested. The picnic was her suggestion. The sequential mental process in which one thought leads to another by association. A quality of a given color that differs slightly from another color. A dye for coloring the hair. A just detectable amount. A tint of glamour. Color lightly. Show the form or outline of. Determine the essential quality of. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Represent it accurately or precisely. Trace the shape of. Describe in vivid detail. Give a description of. Identify as in botany or biology, for example. To give an account or representation of in words. Discreet Italian police described it in a manner typically continental. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Thread on or as if on a string. Poker, in which a player can discard cards and receive substitutes from the dealer. He played only draw and stud. Remove the entrails of. Draw a chicken. Suck in or take air. Draw a deep breath. Pull. A person, apart with 4 horses tied to his extremities, so as to execute him. In the old days, people were drawn and quartered for certain crimes. Give a description of. Anything, straws or pebbles, etc. Taken or chosen at random. The luck of the draw. Finish a game with an equal number of points, goals, etc. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Get or derive. Pass over, across, or through. An entertainer who attracts large audiences. He was the biggest drawing card they had. Direct toward itself or oneself by means of some psychological power or physical attributes. A golf shot that curves to the left for a right-handed golfer. Bring, take, or pull out of a container or from under a cover. Draw a weapon. Earn or achieve a base by being walked by the pitcher. Make, formulate, or derive in the mind. I draw a line here. The finish of a contest in which the score is tied and the winner is undecided. The game ended in a draw. Take in, also metaphorically. Stretch back a bowstring, on an archer's bow. The archers were drawing their bows. The act of drawing or hauling something. American football. The quarterback moves back as if to pass and then hands the ball to the fullback who is running toward the line of scrimmage. Choose at random. Draw a card. Remove, a commodity, from, a supply source. Cause to move in a certain direction by exerting a force upon, either physically or in an abstract sense. Cause to move by pulling. Draw a wagon. Take liquid out of a container or well. A gully that is shallower than a ravine. Allow a draft. This chimney draws very well. A playing card or cards dealt or taken from the pack. He got a pair of kings in the draw. Bring or lead someone to a certain action or condition. She was drawn to despair. Cause to flow. Cause to localize at one point. Contract. Elicit responses, such as objections, criticism, applause, etc. Engage in drawing. He spent the day drawing in the garden. Flatten, stretch, or mold metal or glass, by rolling or by pulling it through a die or by stretching. Draw steel. Move or go steadily or gradually. Move or pull so as to cover or uncover something. Draw the shades. Reduce the diameter of a wire or metal rod by pulling it through a die. Draw wire. Represent by making a drawing of, as with a pencil, chalk, etc. on a surface. Require a specified depth for floating. This boat draws 70 inches. Select or take in from a given group or region. The participants in the experiment were drawn from a representative population. Steep. Pass through a strainer. Draw pulp from the fruit. Write a legal document or paper. The deed was drawn in the lawyer's office. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. Any of several breeds of dog used for hunting, typically having large drooping ears. Pursue or chase relentlessly. The detectives hounded the suspect until they found him. Someone who is morally reprehensible. An association of huntsmen who hunt for sport. The activity of looking thoroughly in order to find something or someone. United States architect, 1827 to 1895. The work of finding and killing or capturing animals for food or pelts. Pursue or chase relentlessly. The hunters traced the deer into the woods. British writer who defended the Romanticism of Keats and Shelley, 1784 to 1859. The pursuit and killing or capture of wild animals regarded as a sport. Englishman and pre-Raphaelite painter, 1827 to 1910. Pursue for food or sport, as of wild animals. Goering often hunted wild boars in Poland. An instance of searching for something. The hunt for submarines. Chase away, as with force. They hunted the unwanted immigrants out of the neighborhood. Oscillate about a desired speed, position, or state to an undesirable extent. The oscillator hunts about the correct frequency. search, an area, for prey. The king used to hunt these forests. Seek, search for. She hunted for her reading glasses but was unable to locate them. Yaw back and forth about a flight path. A spy employed to follow someone and report their movements. An indication that something has been present. Something existing in perception only. Cast a shadow over. Make appear small by comparison. An unilluminated area. A dominating and pervasive presence. He received little recognition working in the shadow of his father. An inseparable companion. The poor child was his mother's shadow. A premonition of something adverse. A shadow over his happiness. Follow, usually without the person's knowledge. The police are shadowing her. Refuge from danger or observation. He felt secure in his father's shadow. Shade within clear boundaries. A quality of a given color that differs slightly from another color. Fill, as with a certain quality. The heavy traffic tinctures the air with carbon monoxide. An indication that something has been present. A tincture of condescension. A substance that colors or dyes. Pharmacology, a medicine consisting of an extract in an alcohol solution. Stain or tinge with a slight amount of a color. The sky was tinctured red. An indication that something has been present. Be later in time. Tuesday always follows Monday. Follow in or as if in pursuit. Her bad deed followed her and haunted her dreams all her life. Travel along a certain course. Follow the road. Keep informed. Follow, discover, or ascertain the course of development of something. We must follow closely the economic development is Cuba. Choose and follow, as of theories, ideas, policies, strategies or plans. She followed the feminist movement. Imitate in behavior. Take as a model. Teenagers follow their friends in everything. Keep to. Come as a logical consequence. Follow logically. It follows that your assertion is false. Follow with the eyes or the mind. She followed the men with the binoculars. Work in a specific place, with a specific subject, or in a specific function. Be the successor, of. Carter followed Ford. Come after in time, as a result. A terrible tsunami followed the earthquake. Act in accordance with someone's rules, commands, or wishes. Perform an accompaniment to. The orchestra could barely follow the frequent pitch changes of the soprano. To be the product or result. Behave in accordance or in agreement with. Keep under surveillance. The police had been following him for weeks but they could not prove his involvement in the bombing. Accept and follow the leadership or command or guidance of. Let's follow our great helmsman. Adhere to or practice. These people still follow the laws of their ancient religion. Be next. Mary plays best, with John and Sue following. Grasp the meaning. Can you follow her argument? To bring something about at a later time than. She followed dinner with a brandy. To travel behind, go after, come after. The ducklings followed their mother around the pond. Convert code into ordinary language. Read with difficulty. Can you decipher this letter? A drawing created by superimposing a semi-transparent sheet of paper on the original image and copying on it the lines of the original image. The act of drawing a plan or diagram or outline. The discovery and description of the course of development of something. The tracing of genealogies. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. The average return was about 5%. The key on electric typewriters or computer keyboards that causes a carriage return and a line feed. Document giving the tax collector information about the taxpayer's tax liability. His gross income was enough that he had to file a tax return. Go back to a previous state. Elect again. A coming to or returning home. On his return from Australia, we gave him a welcoming party. Happening again, especially at regular intervals. The return of spring. Be restored. Her old vigor returned. Give or supply. Pass down. Pay back. Go back to something earlier. Getting something back again. Bring back to the point of departure. The act of someone appearing again. Answer back. Give back. A quick reply to a question or remark, especially a witty or critical one. Be inherited by. The land returned to the family. The occurrence of a change in direction back in the opposite direction. A reciprocal group action. In return, we gave them as good as we got. American football. The act of running back the ball after a kickoff or punt or interception or fumble. A tennis stroke that sends the ball back to the other player. He won the point on a cross-court return. Go or come back to place, condition, or activity where one has been before. Return to your native land. Make a return. Return a kickback. Return in kind. Return a compliment. Return to a previous position, in mathematics. The point returned to the interior of the figure. Submit, a report, etc., to someone in authority. The act of going back to a prior location. They set out on their return to the base camp. A proposal offered for acceptance or rejection. Present for acceptance or rejection. A proposal offered for acceptance or rejection. The act of making a proposal. An offer for a private bargain, especially a request for sexual favors. A task to be dealt with. Securing adequate funding is a time-consuming proposition. Logic. A statement that affirms or denies something and is either true or false. Suggest sex to. She was propositioned by a stranger at the party. An indefinite quantity that is below average size or magnitude. An indefinite quantity that is below average size or magnitude. Celebrate by some ceremony or observation. The citizens mark the anniversary of the revolution with a march and a parade. Insert punctuation marks into. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Assign a grade or rank to, according to one's evaluation. Mark homework. Remove from a list. A symbol of disgrace or infamy. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain. A visible indication made on a surface. Some previous reader had covered the pages with dozens of marks. A person who is gullible and easy to take advantage of. A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. She made good marks in algebra. A perceptible indication of something not immediately apparent, as a visible clue that something has happened. Something that exactly succeeds in achieving its goal. Hit the mark. An indication of damage. Formerly the basic unit of money in Germany. A distinguishing symbol. The owner's mark was on all the sheep. Apostle and companion of St. Peter, assumed to be the author of the second gospel. To accuse or condemn or openly or formally or brand as disgraceful. A marking that consists of lines that cross each other. Make small marks into the surface of. A reference point to shoot at. His arrow hit the mark. The shortest of the 4 Gospels in the New Testament. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Mark off the units. Be a distinctive feature, attribute, or trait, sometimes in a very positive sense. Attach a tag or label to. Notice or perceive. Mark my words. Mark with a scar. Make underscoring marks. A written or printed symbol, as for punctuation. His answer was just a punctuation mark. Designate as if by a mark. This sign marks the border. Make or leave a mark on. The scouts marked the trail. The impression created by doing something unusual or extraordinary that people notice and remember. It was in London that he made his mark. Go after with the intent to catch. Go in search of or hunt for. Go after with the intent to catch. Pursue someone sexually or romantically. To lag or linger behind. Go after with the intent to catch. Move, proceed, or walk draggingly or slowly. John trailed behind his classmates. Drag loosely along a surface. Allow to sweep the ground. The toddler was trailing his pants. Evidence pointing to a possible solution. The trail led straight to the perpetrator. A path or track roughly blazed through wild or hilly country. A track or mark left by something that has passed. There is a trail of blood. Hang down so as to drag along the ground. The bride's veiled trailed along the ground. Go after with the intent to catch. A smooth textured sausage of minced beef or pork, usually smoked, often served on a bread roll. Go after with the intent to catch. The dog chased the rabbit. A hinged catch that fits into a notch of a ratchet to move a wheel forward or prevent it from moving backward. Someone who is morally reprehensible. You dirty dog. A dull, unattractive, unpleasant girl or woman. She's a real dog. A member of the genus Canis, probably descended from the common wolf, that has been domesticated by man since prehistoric times, occurs in many breeds. The dog barked all night. Metal supports for logs in a fireplace. Informal term for a man. You lucky dog. Cut a furrow into a columns. Go after with the intent to catch. The policeman chased the mugger down the alley. United States politician and jurist who served as Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, 1808 to 1873. Pursue someone sexually or romantically. The act of pursuing in an effort to overtake or capture. A rectangular metal frame used in letterpress printing to hold together the pages or columns of composed type that are printed at one time. Cut a groove into. Chase silver. A label written or printed on paper, cardboard, or plastic that is attached to something to indicate its owner, nature, price, etc. Go after with the intent to catch. A small piece of cloth or paper. Attach a tag or label to. A game in which one child chases the others. The one who is caught becomes the next chaser. A label associated with something for the purpose of identification. Semantic tags were attached in order to identify different meanings of the word. Provide with a name or nickname. Sports. The act of touching a player in a game, which changes their status in the game. Supply, blank verse or prose, with rhymes. Touch a player while he is holding the ball.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.